the 80-20 principle for fat loss success. Hey team, and welcome to this week's episode of the Inspired Show, the show that's dedicated to helping you become that best version of yourself, physically and mentally. Before we get into today's episode, if you've not hit that subscribe button yet, please hit that subscribe button. Just stay updated with all our content. Hit the like button, and any questions you've got or feedback, please let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget, in the caption section, you can also join our free community where we can help you work out your calories, your daily steps, and a place for you to ask questions, and also our social media handles as well to help you stay informed on a day-by-day basis with all our content. So today's episode is all about the 80-20 principle. We're going to run through what that principle is and how it can help you with your weight loss journey. But before we get into the 80-20 principle, which is going to be a very useful tool for you, we need to look at the determining factors for weight loss, weight maintenance, and weight gain. The number one determining factor for any of these is going to be your calories. We need to understand that. So if you're eating the right amount of calories for what your body's burning, you're going to maintain weight. You're not going to lose, you're not going to gain. If you're eating too many calories, you're going to gain weight. If you're eating too little calories, you're going to lose weight. And that's regardless of whether it's coming from chocolates or it's coming from things like fruits and vegetables. Okay? Because a lot of people, they're stuck in a poor mindset with their food, a bad relationship with their food, where they believe in order to lose weight, they've got to be eating super clean, super healthy foods all the time. And if they deviate from that and have some chocolate, it's going to be detrimental to their journey. And that's where the 80-20 principles are going to come into play, because it's going to help you build a better relationship with food and understand that you can still have some chocolate and still get into shape absolutely guilt-free. So what is the 80-20 principle and how can we utilize it? Well, the 80-20 principle is a framework we can use with our nutrition. Because when it comes to your nutrition and fat loss, one of the most important things is consistency. Having the willpower to stick within your calorie deficit. And if I would say to you, you can only eat fruits, vegetables, proteins, and super healthy foods all the time, you might do it for a week or two, but eventually you'll start getting those cheeky cravings for things like your chocolates, your takeaways, so on and so forth. And eventually you probably will have them. And when you have them, guess what? You're probably going to feel really guilty that you had them. And then you're going to go into self-sabotage mode where you go, do you know what? I've smashed a bag of chocolates. I might as well start again next week because it's Friday tomorrow. So what we're going to be doing with the 80-20 principle is showing you how you can still enjoy chocolates and get into shape. So the 80-20 principle is looking at a percentage of your food. So if you're to think about your calories on a day-by-day basis and across the week, what we're going to be doing is 80% of the time, focus on more nutrient-dense foods, and then 20% of the time, focus on the cheeky foods. So what are more nutrient-dense foods? Well, these are things like your single ingredient foods, your whole foods, things like your fruits, your vegetables, potatoes, proteins, things like your meats, your fishes, your nuts, your seeds. You've then got things like whole grains, which would fit into that aspect of things as well. Things like your avocados, your legumes. These are all on the nutrient-dense side of things. So why are they nutrient-dense? Well, they're pretty much high in volume, which means they can keep you full for longer. They're lower in calories in comparison to ultra-processed foods. But they also have things like vitamins, minerals, fiber, all around goodness that our body needs, not just to survive, but thrive. So when you're having your majority of calories from these foods, you are going to feel good. You are going to feel energized. But we're human at the end of the day. Like, having those foods all the time is great for a short time. And there are some people out there that can do that long term. And if you're that type of person, you enjoy that, absolutely amazing. But if you're anything like me, I enjoy a bit of chocolate from time to time. I enjoy a slice of pizza. I enjoy some popcorn in the cinema. I enjoy a takeaway. So having 20% of less nutritious foods into our lifestyle can help you be consistent. So what are less nutritious foods? Well, less nutritious foods are your ultra-processed foods. Things like your chocolates, your crisps, your takeaways, your alcohol, things that don't really provide a lot of nutrient-dense qualities for us, but they are pretty tasty and we do enjoy them. And sometimes they fit into our social events and things like that as well. So allowing yourself to have foods like that 20% of the time, it is going to really increase your adherence levels. Because remember, it's not about being perfect, it's more about being consistent. Like, if you want better results, do you think you're going to get better results by trying to be perfect only some of the time, or consistently being imperfect? Exactly. You're going to get better results by consistently being imperfect, by getting the balance right. And that'll help you massively. On top of that, it's going to help you build a better relationship with food, because we shouldn't be looking at food as good or bad. We should be looking at it as more nutritious and less nutritious, because at the end of the day, food is simply food. And when we start thinking about it from that point of view, if we do have a piece of chocolate, we're not going to feel bad for it, because we understand, yes, it's not the most nutrient dense, but if we're within our calories and 80% of the time we're eating foods like this anyway, it's going to help us massively stay on track. So what I want you to think about right now is think about where your percentages are right now. Like, how much would you say your more nutritious foods are at the moment? Okay. Is it 20%, 30%, 50%? And where is your less nutritious foods? Because if you're nowhere near 80-20 at the moment, then what you could do is make it very difficult to achieve that, because sometimes it feels like you're going all in. So let's say at the moment that you always end up starting a diet where you go 100% healthy foods, 0% less nutritious foods, but then you give up after a week, okay? And then you're kind of eating these 80-90% of the time and eating these maybe 10-20% of the time. So we know that all nothing approach doesn't really work. So what we actually want to start thinking about doing is just gradually bumping this up over the weeks and gradually reducing these until you kind of switch them over. So at the moment, you might be eating, let's say, 30% more nutritious, 70% less nutritious. So week on week, if you can start increasing this and decreasing that, so they switch over, that'll be the best way to do it, because it allows you building those habits and rituals as well. So just to recap, the 80-20 rule is 80% of the time, more nutritious foods, 20% of the time, less nutritious foods. It's going to allow us to stay fuller for longer, nourish your body, but also give the flexibility to stay on track with it. It's also going to build a better relationship with food. And if you're nowhere near that ratio at the moment, gradually build this up, gradually decrease this, and help you massively build it into a real lifestyle change.